Hello YouTube and welcome back to Be a Loser. Well, we've covered a lot in this series and have just started our journey into understanding the macronutrients and their nuances. We've already discussed the effect that the mandated standard American diet has had on all of us. You can see the ramifications of that in all of my series. Well, maybe not cooking. We learned how not all carbs are created equally and that fiber plays a very important role in how these carbohydrates affect the body. We know that whole foods are always better for us than processed foods, and soon we'll move into the conundrum that is protein. But before our journey carries us away from carbohydrates, for a while at least, we should probably discuss a group of carbohydrates that are a hot button topic and cause a great deal of raging debate. And that group is fruits and vegetables. And the question is, should we really eat more fruit? Well, if you've been following my weight gain series, then you know that snacking is detrimental to weight loss due to increasing insulin resistance. But many, and I mean many, nutritional experts instruct us to eat more often in order to lose weight. So let me get this straight. I need to eat more in order to lose weight. If that sounds counterintuitive, well, that's because it is. In what universe could eating more possibly help you lose weight? Well, the one that Superman villain comes from, maybe.
Yeah, like Bizarro Superman. Superman's exact opposite, who lives in the backwards Bizarro world. Up is down, down is up. He says hello when he leaves, goodbye when he arrives.
Exactly. And even if one concludes that maybe eating all the time might be detrimental to my weight loss efforts, then the mantra always seems to be, eat more fruit and vegetables. Now, before people watching this start losing their minds and hitting the dislike button, let me tell you that there is very little debate that most fruits and vegetables are healthy. In their natural form, of course. But can eating more of something possibly be helpful in losing weight? Well, according to my friends over at the World Health Organization, that's exactly what they think. In a report from 2003, on page 68, they write, for children and adolescents, prevention of obesity implies the need to promote the intake of fruits and vegetables. And of course, American dietary guidelines consider this of paramount importance as well. They've been recommending this since basically the beginning. And as we said, it's because of the health benefits that are inherent in fruits and vegetables. I mean, they're full of micronutrients, vitamins, and fiber. And there may also be some antioxidants as well as phytonutrients. So we're told to eat more and more fruits and vegetables. But the part that all the experts miss is that what we should be doing is replacing other less healthy foods with these fruits and vegetables. Because these fruits and vegetables are low in caloric density and high in fiber, which we know is beneficial, most people just assume that this will keep you full longer and thus promote eating less of other foods. Well, if that's the case, then the advice would be sure to replace that pasta with vegetables. Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard that. No, instead we're simply told to increase how many fruits and vegetables we eat. So, is it true? Eating more fruit equals greater weight loss? Well, as always, we can just look at a study. Well, this paper from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, published in 2014, looks at pretty much all of them. And it's not surprising that they basically found nothing. No individual study could show that there was any benefit from increased intake of fruits and vegetables. And the total of all the studies also showed no benefit. So what this means is that this is already strong evidence that eating more does not make you weigh less. Those results are pretty recent, so why do people still tell us to eat more to lose weight? Well, we covered that as well. And it's money. Fruit companies want to sell fruit. Vegetable companies want to sell vegetables. So obviously, eating more of them is good for them. But we've already covered that. So in order to move forward, let me just say that eating fruits and vegetables is important and healthy, but only if you're replacing other less healthy foods. We should know by now that insulin is the main driver of weight gain. In order to lose weight, we must lower insulin production. Eating more causes more insulin to be produced and therefore is detrimental for weight loss. This is supported by a study published in the British Medical Journal in 2013. This study looked at 3 other large studies in order to determine if consuming whole fruits and fruit juices increased the risk of type 2 diabetes. The study had over 190,000 subjects and the follow-up was 12 years, so it's hard to argue results of such a massive study. The results, put simply, were that for every extra 3 servings of whole fruit consumed per week, the risk of T2D went down by 2%. Not what I would call convincing of powerful health benefits. And as far as fruit juice consumption, well, for every extra 3 servings per week, the risk of T2D went up 8%. So there's proof of processing being deadly, right? So I can, of course, hear the naysayers. Well, now, not all fruits are the same. And that's true. We can look at the glycemic index of fruits and assume that we should stay away from those that have a high GI score. Well, this study was large enough to actually do that. And it determined that grouping the fruits by GI was useless. Eating more high glycemic load fruits lowered T2D risk, and eating more low GL foods didn't. This is opposite to what the glycemic index would tell us. So clearly adding fruit is not giving us quite the results we were hoping for. So what if instead of adding fruit, we replace something with fruit? Well, that's where we do start to see benefit. And this benefit varies widely depending on the fruit in question. Many fruits that are avoided due to their high glycemic index are actually quite effective at preventing diabetes when used to replace fruit juice. Bananas and grapes are 2 such fruits. LCHFers typically avoid these like the plague. I certainly have, and I've instructed people to do so as well. But I was at that time coming from the standpoint of many that we would be adding these into our diet. But if we use fruits to replace other more detrimental foods, then we get these benefits. Overall, a 7% reduced risk of T2D. And looking at individual fruits, blueberries top the list with a 33% reduced risk. Grapes are next at 19%. Apples and pears come in at 14%. The dreaded banana gives a 13% reduced risk. And finally, grapefruit brings in a 12% reduced risk of T2D. As we know, weight gain, obesity, and T2D are somewhat linked, and one generally progresses to the other. But the message from this data is pretty straightforward. Eating more to lose weight is not a good strategy. But replacing obesogenic foods with non-obesogenic foods is a good strategy. So, the moral of the story is, yes, fruits and vegetables are good for you. But don't just eat more of them. Replace other foods that are not as good for you with them. And we'll leave this one there. Our next videos in this series will continue through the macronutrients as we take a look at protein and red meat, and of course fat, including saturated fat. We'll then circle back to sugars and fructose. I also intend to do a video on childhood obesity, as it's certainly of growing concern to many. So let me know in the comments if you'd like me to cover that one first before continuing with the rest of the macronutrients. Now, if you're new, be sure to subscribe and enable alerts for new videos. And of course, like this video and share it if you enjoyed it. We'll be back soon with a new video. In the meantime, click the video links to see the carbohydrate insulin hypothesis video and the body set weight video. And until next time, keep being a loser.